Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are going to render this. If you made it this far, congratulations. We've done everything. We've modeled all of the objects, the snowman, the sign, the tree, the hills in the background, everything. We've lit the scene, we've animated it, we added the snow, everything's done. The last thing we need to do is to render this, because obviously you want to show this off and you want to send it to somebody. And how do you send it? You're not going to send a Blender file. We just need to render it into a movie file, and then we can share it. So let's go ahead and get that done. The first thing I'd like to do is go to the scene tab here. Let's find out. We're going to render it in Eevee. There's two renderers, Eevee and Cycles. And we're going to keep it in Eevee because this is the real-time render. It's the fastest render and it's a beautiful render. So we're just going to keep it in Eevee. The sampling will be 64, which is already set to 64. It is so fast and it doesn't really matter. So I just keep it at 64 by 64. We're going to turn on viewport denoising. We're going to turn on ambient occlusion. We're going to leave bloom off, and we're going to leave a depth of field on because the stuff in the background is blurred out, and also the stuff in the very foreground is blurred off, like these two snowflakes. And so we're going to keep depth of field on, and we are going to turn on. Now this is up to you if you want to turn on motion blur or not. I'm going to turn on motion blur. Just to give it a little realism, even though there's not much moving. There's only the snow moving and then the arm. And so we're done with the scene settings. Let's go to the output. And so here in the output properties, we've got the resolution, which I'm going to leave at 1920 by 1080 at 100%. And we're going to leave it also at 24 frames. I'm cool with that. That's what we were working on. And we're going to start the rendering at frame 1 and finish it at 120. That's all we've got actually, 5 seconds, 120. And the step is how many frames. Like if you have every 2 or a 2 here, it'll render every 2 frames. If you have a 3, it'll render every 3rd frame and every 4th frame. So we just want to render every frame. We'll leave it at step at 1. We're not going to do anything with this time stretching. We're just going to keep it as is. Output. Let's go ahead and click on this little folder icon. I'm going to click on the desktop. And so right here, I'm going to call it Snow. This is where you type in the name, Snow. Scene new. You can see that I've already rendered it a couple times. And so we'll talk about these two in a minute. But for now, let's just call it Snow Scene New on the desktop and hit accept. You'll see that it's the Snow Scene New on the desktop, not a big deal. Saving the file extension, yes. We're not going to render PNGs. It is the safest way to do a render, especially if it's multiple frames, to do individual frames. If it happens to crash midways, you don't lose your animation. You don't lose your render. You can just pick up wherever it crashed and then continue with the render. But I'm going to do a video, FFmpeg video, RGB. And I am going to use an Mp4 container. And I am going to use the codec H.264 with the output quality high and encoding speed good. Everything is good. There is no audio, so I'll have no audio selected here. And I think we're ready to go ahead and render it. So I'm going to click on render animation, and we've got the render prompt. And so it's working already on frame 2, 3. It's taking about 2.7 seconds per frame, and it'll take about 5 minutes. I already rendered this, and so I'm going to speed up the process so you can see the rendering, and then I'll see you on the other side. And so the rendering is done. It's already reached 120. It was about 5 minutes. Not a big deal. I'm going to close this render window off and open both the new. So earlier I mentioned that I had already rendered this, and this is a MOV versus a Mp4, and the only difference is the extension. And a lot of times Windows computers don't have the ability to play QuickTime movies. So this is a lot more compatible, and I think it's compatible also with the web. So I always like to render Mp4s, and that goes through getting the container, the Mp4 container here in the render. So the render quality is the same, no render quality difference. And there you have it, guys. We've completed the whole scene, rendered and everything. And so in the next video, I'd like to do a bonus. Maybe this was suggested by one of the subscribers, Campuria. What I'd like to do in the next video is try to rig this character using the armature as opposed to a parenting method like we did. So we'll give you a couple different choices for you guys to try parenting and try the armature. I'd also like to wish Erica happy birthday. So happy birthday, Erica. I hope you have a wonderful day. That's it, guys. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you, guys.